Hey everybody, Cheryl here again today. Today I want to talk texture and I want to talk about the conversation, the chemicals, and a few time saving tips when we are approached with that client who comes in with a picture of beautifully coiled hair and says, I want beachy waves just like this. So what we've got to do is we've got to bridge the gap. The industry has changed completely in the time that I have been part of it. I mean, like the last 3 months, of course. Obviously, I'm young enough for all that. But what has happened is we went from an industry that thrived on creating texture in the hair, and then we went to straight, smooth hair. So much straight, so much smooth that when you walked into a salon, if somebody had been doing a permanent wave or a texture service, as it were, verbiage has changed, then you smelled it. You smelled it like who did a perm? All right, somebody needs to take garbage out right now. So when that happens, everything changes. And also, when we did permanent waving back then, most people only got their hair colored or highlighted. And they didn't get it done 10 times a year, 16 different colors, 4 lifting processes, and yada, 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 yada. So we've got to battle a lot of different things that we never had to before. And because texture is just now coming back into the scene, a lot of the little nuances have not been taught that make a huge difference when we're creating these services. So first thing I want to address very quickly is the conversation. When the client says, I want beachy waves, get your device. If you're Apple, get Siri. If you're Samsung, holler up for Google. So I use Google. Oh, okay. And so I pulled up some images for you guys this morning. Looking at that, this is what they're bringing to us. Some of these images have obviously been styled with some kind of heat device. And we're not going to be able to recreate that with a permanent wave that allows them to get up, shampoo their hair, shake it, and go. So we have to show them exactly what's going to happen. We also really must understand the history of their hair. And we have to explain to them why it's so important that they tell us, if your hair was highlighted 6 months ago and then you covered it up with brown color, whether you had it done professionally or whether you done it yourself, the integrity of your hair lies on you telling me this. This is of utmost importance. So the more concern for their hair that you speak to it with, the more they're going to respond with honesty. So that's the first thing we do, is we have to have some clarification in the conversation. Now, when we get into the actual texture service itself, there are plenty of videos out there for techniques. I might make one later this fall because I have a particular favorite called the dropout wrap. I will share that with you, but that will be a few weeks down the road. But understand how your chemicals work. And back then, we had perms that, oh, I almost dropped my pad. Back then, we had perms that had an oil base to them. So we were taught, shake that product, shake it, shake it, shake it, so that it was thoroughly mixed because the oil would stay on the inside of the bottle. Now, there are different types of perms out there now. One of my favorite is an Opticurl. It is made by Matrix, and it is carbon-based technology. And because it's carbon-based, it doesn't have that oil background in it, so I don't need to shake it. If I shake it and I open it up, it's going to go pew. And that's not something we want to happen in the salon. So understand your chemicals, learn the history of each one. Another thing would be some people's hair, just by nature, not by the services that they've had, but by nature, their hair curls a little bit easier than others. One quick, simple way that you can learn this, or that you can identify this, is by looking into their eyes. Like straight into their eyes. If they have a great deal of yellow in their eyes, yellow flecks, a yellowish color into their background, look at it closely. That means their body contains a lot of sulfur, and then what's going to happen is their hair is going to curl very easily. I have clients that I literally can leave the solution on for 2 minutes. Two, and get a very firm curl. But I know this not only from the experience of their hair, but understanding that our body is a telltale sign of many things. Another thing is I prefer the pop-up wraps. They're quick, they're easy. Years ago, I was taught to take a box of wraps, twirl them around, easy pickup. Not wrong. It is not wrong. The Fuji wraps in the little dispenser that pop up, they are a little bit more expensive, but that makes your world a little bit easier. Okay? Then another thing is I keep my hands misted. I just occasionally pick my hands up and just and mist my hands with the water so that my hands are always working with those end papers very, very easily. Another time-saving tip is most of them have very, very long hair. So we take them to the shampoo bowl. They probably had that hair up in a top knot for 3 or 4 days. We shampoo it. We don't want to put a heavy conditioner on there because it will affect the chemical process. So then we need to get all those tangles out on that waist-length hair. That in itself can end up being a 15, 20-minute chore if you're not careful. One of the things that I do is I use a big paddle brush. I'm not sure exactly. I believe this one's made by Olivia Garden. Maybe not. I don't want to sell off any company wrong or right one way or the other. But here's the key thing. Turn the brush this way, not this way. And here's the reason why. When you look at the brush from this angle, you see all the lovely bristles. They're kind of staggered. But when you turn it from this angle, they're all in a straight row. They're all in a straight line. So it easily detangles the hair. Use a spray-on leave-in conditioner. My particular favorite is Insecure. Make sure you keep that hair moist, damp, and clean sections. Okay, I've went over my time limit for my videos. We're up to 7 minutes. I'm cutting out of here. I wanted you guys to have a little bit of background info. I will make another video concerning texture later. I just wanted to give you a heads up on some things that you could do to make your world a little bit easier. Thanks and have a good day.